I mean, Wizard of Oz, the 1939 version, is sometimes thought of as unapproachable, which is odd because obviously there are loads and loads of film versions based on, Bound's writing. There's a 1910 version from the stage musical. There's versions in the 20s, and of course, and then there's Return to Oz. I mean, there are many. There are many versions of this story on screen, and some of them are pretty good. I mean, the alarm bells start ringing when you hear that, on the one hand, they're not allowed to use anything that's copyrighted for the movie, and he himself said, yeah, that was a worry. And then, of course, you hear it's in 3D, which is a problem for me, but then, of course, as Sam Raimi said, he's no more fan of 3D than I am, and it is true that the way in which they've managed the 3D was easier on my eye than much 3D, although, frankly, I'd like to see the thing done in 2D. Also, there's an alarm bell because it's kind of being pitched as this year's Alice in Wonderland, because, of course, that made such a lot of money, and yet, of course, of all of Tim Burton's films, was the least characteristically Tim Burton, was the one which we had the most listeners writing in saying it seemed terribly corporate and terribly bland. It's something of relief, therefore, to be able to report that Oz the Great and Powerful, I thought was kind of fun. It was, maybe slightly flimsy and too long. Boyd Hilton tweeted immediately afterwards, Wizard of Oz 100 minutes, Oz the Great and Powerful 130 minutes. And it is slightly baggy, but it is, I thought, good fun. I thought it was a good watch. I thought it was visually kind of interesting. It remains significant that Raimi came out of horror, and therefore, although the film is definitely pitched towards a younger audience, and they've taken there's nothing in it as creepy or terrifying as the first flying monkey sequence in The Wizard of Oz, which still gives everyone nightmares now, and it's easy to see why. He does understand how to get that balance between the edginess and the stuff which reassures you, and I think he does that rather well. There were times when the film reminded me slightly of the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, and that that's a compliment for me. There was times when I thought James Franco seemed to be channeling a little bit of that. I mean, I like that film. It's a Gilliam film which has got some problems, but there is a sense of ambition in it, a sense of attempting to create other worlds and do it in a way that's genuinely adventurous. I don't think for 1 minute this is a classic, and it's not something that's going to live anything like The Wizard of Oz itself. The Wizard of Oz itself is up there with Casablanca and It's a Wonderful Life, and Seven Samurai is one of the greatest films ever made that will live forever in people's minds. But what this isn't is a huge disappointment. It is a good, fun, overly baggy, slightly flimsy, but actually rather well judged, fun family romp.